What is one thing that you love the most about your mama?
That she takes care of me.
I like that you say, I love you forever and ever very much.
She's really kind. She takes care of me.
That she cooks really good and she takes care of us really good.
The most important thing my mom has taught me is to worship God, is to have good manners.
Be nice to everyone. The most important thing my mom has taught me is to work hard.
I love my mom because she takes care of me and she likes to hang out with me.
She's always there for me no matter what.
She knows the right time to crack a joke.
That she loves me and she's nice to me.
Mom, I love you because you love me and you work so hard.
And one thing that I love about you is that you're very caring.
Something I love about you is that you're hardworking, and something you taught me is how to clean really good.
Me, I love you and your hair is pretty.
All right, guys, what do you love most about your mommy?
I love that she teaches us the Bible and she loves us very much. I like that Mommy helped me make my lunch. I love that Mommy helps me do my chore and teach me sit. I just like it back.
We love you, Mom,
because you've always supported us
and taken care of us.
Happy Mother's Day! Thank you, awesome Mom. You're the best!
Happy Mother's Day. My name is Cassie.
And I'm Paige.
And thanks for joining Grove Church today on Mother's Day.
Yeah.
Hey, wasn't that video awesome?
I loved it. It was so precious.
Thanks, Dads, for doing that. That was super special.
Yeah, we're so excited that you guys are here to join us today. Would you grab your phones and attend church with us by texting the word attend to 97,000. Specifically today, there is a reason, a very special reason why you're going to want to do this. Cassie, tell them.
Yes, today you are nominating one mom to win a free house cleaning.
Cleaning. That's an important piece. You're going to want to mention that.
Yeah, so the church is going to pay for one mom to have a professional house cleaner come to the house and clean it. Isn't that rad?
Yes, it's so great. So see, I was not lying when I said you're going to want to engage. Grab your phones. You're going to see through the message the letters EQ pop up on the screen. Those are just the prompts for you to be able to engage with the message as it goes along.
All right, let's go ahead and go to worship. We have two mothers leading worship today, Shauna and Mackenzie. Enjoy.
Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day.
You are here, moving in our midst. I worship you, I worship you. You are here, working in this place. I worship you, I worship you. You are here, moving in our midst. I worship you, I worship you. You are here, working in this place. I worship you, I worship you. Touching every heart, I worship you, I worship you. You are here, healing You were the Word at the beginning, one with God the Lord Most High. Your hidden glory in creation, now revealed in you are Christ. What a beautiful name it is. What a beautiful name it is. The name of Jesus Christ, my King. What a beautiful name it is. Nothing compares to this. What a beautiful name it is. The name of Jesus. You didn't want heaven without us. So Jesus, you brought heaven down. My sin was great, your love was greater. What can separate us now? What a wonderful name it is. What a wonderful name it is. The name of Jesus Christ, my King. What a wonderful name it is. Nothing compares to this. What a wonderful name it is. The name of Jesus. It's a wonderful God. Death could not hold you. The veil tore before you. Silence the boast of sin and grave. The heavens are roaring the praise of your glory. For we are raised to life again. You have no rival. You have no equal. Now and forever, God, you reign. 'Cause yours is the kingdom. Yours is the glory. Yours is the name above all names. What a powerful name it is. What a powerful name it is. The name of Jesus Christ, my King. What a powerful name it is. Nothing can stand against. What a powerful name it is. The name of Jesus. What a powerful name it is. The name of Jesus. What a powerful name it is. The name of Jesus.
Hey everyone, welcome to Grove Church Online. My name is Cassie. Here are a few things to remember before we get started.
If this is your first or second time watching, we want to invite you to have the best church at home experience with us today. So go ahead and text the word growth to 97,000 and complete the communication card you received on your device. Take a few minutes to complete it right now. Simply write in your name, address, email, phone number, or as much as you feel comfortable sharing. And be sure to check one of the boxes that say first or second time. First or second timers will also receive a free book and gift in the mail. It's our way of saying thank you and letting you know how excited we are that you joined us.
There are a number of next steps noted on the communication card. If you've been part of the Grove Church for a while and would like to set roots and serve on a team, we love for you to attend Growth Track. This is your next step if you want to become part of the church. Growth Track is a great place to find out who we are and where you fit in. It's generally held every second or third Sunday of the month as a 90-minute catered brunch event with childcare provided. To sign up, simply check the Growth Track box on the communication card or sign up on the app.
If you haven't downloaded our app yet, be sure to download it from the app or Google Play Store. The app is a great tool to submit prayer requests, take sermon notes, listen to archived messages, or our weekly devotionals. We also recommend that you use the app to sign up for events or a growth group.
Hey, thanks again for watching. If you have any questions about anything you heard today, or just want to learn more about Grove Church, be sure to visit sdgrove.org.
Happy Mother's Day, you guys. I'm so excited that you've joined us for worship today, and we're going to continue our worship through giving of our tithes and our offerings. And on the screen, there should be a graphic telling you the best way to give. So I want to encourage you just to remember that when you give it as an act of worship, as an act of sacrifice. And hey, you might be wondering why we're in this living room. This is actually my living room, front room. I'm not sure. I don't know what we call it, but this is my dining room table here. And for Mother's Day, we thought it would be kind of neat to get the women in my life, the moms in my life, my wife, and my 3 daughter-in-laws, and of course, here in the room, Janelle, she's back in Arizona. But we wanted to get us all together here and just talk about my mom's legacy. And then just think about how the legacy of a mother impacts a family. But I don't want to limit it just to my mom's legacy or a mom's legacy. I want to challenge you to think about you living a legacy in other people's life around you right now. You don't have to have led a perfect life up to this point, but from now forward, God wants to use you to leave a legacy. He wants you to be Him in His place in the people in your life, at school, at work, neighborhood, wherever. So I want to encourage you, as we just have this kind of interactive interview, to think about not just a mother's legacy in your life, but your legacy and the people around you. Let's do this interview. So excited to celebrate Mother's Day with you today, and we want to do some things differently today as a church for the message. We are going to be getting into, celebrating our moms and the legacy that moms have in our life, but we want to even get bigger than that and have you think about the kind of legacy you want to leave in other people's lives, whether you're a mom or not, and how you want to impact people with your life. But first, let me introduce who I'm here with at my table. On my right, your left, is my beautiful bride, Regina, my first wife and only wife.
Hopefully last wife.
And then we've got the 3 daughter-in-laws that married our sons. We're so Kara, Maddie, and Tori. I got that right. And Gina, I was thinking about how much we prayed for our boys and the girls they were going to marry, and we are just so grateful. I know we've told you this before, girls, but we are really, really, really grateful for you guys. So, Gina, things have really changed for you in terms of the mix between boys and girls in our family, hasn't it?
Yes. Most of you are aware we got to practice first on someone. So we were blessed to raise our niece, Janelle. Yep. And as a child and as a teenager, so poor thing, she had to be the guinea pig for all of our parenting. Yeah. First time through. So she is in Arizona. She is not with us today, and she has 4 awesome kids and a husband, Gabe. So
he's okay.
He's pretty great. So it was definitely a dominated testosterone male family. It was Janelle and I, and then the 3 little boys. And eventually she grew up and left, and it was just the boys and you. Mm-hmm. So and I was the only girl again.
We've had a real transition from action movies to Hallmark stuff. And so I can admit that I watch Hallmark.
Because now there's more girls than there are boys.
Oh, yeah.
Which is crazy.
And so... like I said, I don't want this message just to be, or this interaction time, just to be about moms and Mother's Day. I mean, it is Mother's Day, and that's a huge part of what we're talking about this morning. But also, we're talking legacy, and we're talking about for you where you're watching this. I want you to think about, the truth is, I want God to produce in you a holy jealousy for wanting to leave an impact and in your life. And upon other people. And so, we were talking earlier how a lot of you guys, you girls, didn't really know my mom that well because you can't see it right now, but Matt's crawling in front, behind, underneath the camera, try not to distract us.
Come
good
on,
job.
you're not a child.
All right, okay.
You can
so,
rise above.
Yeah, and when I'm preaching at church and everyone's sitting there, I can see my wife over here, and she's like making faces at me and trying to get me to focus on the message. So I will say focus, Gina.
Okay.
But really, I want to have a holy jealousy in us to like leave a legacy in other people's life. And this year, it was actually last October, my mom passed away. In late October, I'm not sure the date.
Yep, 30th.
Yeah, there you go, my wife. Very good job. Wow. It's my memory over here. So, and I really began to think about her life. And like you guys didn't get to really know her that well. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that and her impact on you guys, all of us. But I want you to think about, as you're watching this, just, the impact other people have had in your life for Christ, but also the impact you want to have on people's life. So it's bigger than just Mother's Day, but of course it is Mother's Day, and we're so blessed. Let me just tell a quick story about my mom and why kind of this message, the way we're doing it. The title of this message is Mom's Final Gift, because when my mom, you guys were at the funeral, and I remember saying that my mom made it really easy on us. And what I meant by that was a gift, is that she had lived her life, particularly the second half and of her life, I mean her whole life, but in such a way that she left this earth like with no regrets. And I mean, we all loved each other. All our kids loved each other. All our kids were right with the Lord. And I mean, she didn't have tons of money. She didn't have great clothes or a model home. She didn't travel the world. She just had an amazing son, her favorite son. No. But she didn't have all that. But what she did have is she had the Lord, and she had a love for the Lord and a love for people because of that. And so when she left, she made it really easy on all of us. And that's what I want. And I hope that's what you want too, that when you leave this earth, you leave in peace, and the people around you, it is hard. When it was hard losing my mom, but it was easy as it can possibly be. And I know other people, if you lose someone who's a lot younger, that's harder. So that's kind of what I want to do. And then we're just going to share a little bit. You guys are going to tell some stories, and I'll tell stories about my mom. But living a life with no regrets and having that unity of family. And, my dad was involved in my life. Other people helped raise me as well. But my mom had a tremendous impact. So I want to know how I can leave my life like that. So I want to read a verse, and then I'm going to start asking you girls some questions or just getting you involved. And in the third book of John, chapter 1, verse 4, it says, I have no greater joy than this, to hear of my children walking in the truth. And that I feel like that was my mom. That was her greatest treasure besides her walk with the Lord, was that she knew we were all walking with the Lord.
And can I say, one of the prayers, and it almost was like a ritual prayer. I prayed it every day, was for all of our kids to love God with their whole heart.
That's right.
To love God with their every day of their lives, and to love what He loves and to hate what He hates. And that I just prayed it over our kids every single day. And prayer, it's powerful.
And so one of the legacies my mom had was prayer.
Very much. She prayed continually.
It reminds me of a story when you first came and I think you were you married at the time?
No, this was one of the first times I had come over. I think it was the first time I came over for family dinner. I was really nervous to come to my new boyfriend's family's house, but I was also nervous to come to my new pastor's family's house. So there's a lot of nerves going into this dinner, but it was going great. It was so much fun. Had dinner, and then as it was like winding down and we were getting ready to go, you got us all together to pray before we went our separate ways. And I was like getting really nervous inside, like as you were praying, and as Caleb and AJ and Kara and everyone and Gina, everyone's been praying, and I was just like, this isn't it. Like, I had never prayed out loud before. Like, they're not gonna make me pray, are they? Like, so I was like not listening to these like eloquent prayers. I was like in my head, I was like, what am I gonna say? Like, how, like, I was just so nervous that like when everyone had prayed and it came to me, I just was like, thank you, God, for this family. I hope we all have a great week. Amen.
And then squeeze AJ's hand really hard.
Yes, I was like sweating. I was squeezing his hand. I was just like, oh my gosh, it's not happening. And then we got in the car and I was like, AJ, I'd never done that before. Like, I was so nervous. I can't believe that you made me do that. Like, I was like mortified. I just was like, I didn't want you guys to know like what a baby Christian I was. I was raised Catholic, but all the prayers I had prayed, I grew up praying with my family, but they were all scripted. And so I had never prayed in my own words before. Out loud in a group setting, and so it was very like nerve-wracking for me.
Well, I thought it was fun. I mean, that is really, we laughed so hard when you told us that
notice.
story.
A couple of years later, I
didn't really later.
I was probably obvious, but I don't know.
And then we were just talking about your mom and how she would dance with you every night. But what else would she do?
So my mom, growing up, my parents were awesome, but we definitely had our struggles. But one thing my mom was super consistent about, I would say every night of my life until like 8 years old. Like she would pick us up at 8 years old. She would dance us around our room and she would pray over us. And she always had like, I would say like beautiful prayers. Like they were always, like you were saying, very eloquent. There we go. Just really pretty prayers over us. And it's something that I always remembered. But then when I had Emma, I was like, oh my gosh, like I get to do that with her now. And so Emma doesn't quite want to dance with me yet. She's just tired. She wants to go to sleep. She'll actually like cut me off mid-prayer and just be like, amen, like we're done praying. Because she wants to go to bed. But it's definitely something like I remember my mom dancing around the room, and she would do it with each one of us. Like we all had our special time to pray with her. And it was something that was so special, I think, to me and to my brothers. And it'll be special to do with Emma when she actually lets me do it.
Well, it's funny that Monday night dinner thing. That's kind of a legacy from my family. I mean, Virginia, you remember coming over? I remember you coming over to our house.
I felt like Maddie.
Yeah.
I was nervous.
Yeah.
John and I met at 14. We started dating at 16 and joined in the family dinners right away. And I remember being really intimidated. I didn't come from a Christian home. We also we went to church, but it didn't go to the home. It just was something we did some days on Sunday, my mom, but it definitely was not a Christian home where we prayed together or anything like that. So joining John's family, I remember being very nervous and feeling inadequate, and exactly how you felt, Maddie.
Well, Tori, you had a great family, great parents, great time growing up, but you didn't have like the churchy Christian thing either.
No, my mom has a relationship with the Lord for sure, but my family didn't. I didn't grow up with my family going to church with me. So prayer was a little different in that aspect. I didn't grow up praying. I kind of had to learn through like kids church and junior high and high school and like through my leaders. So I had other people lead me through that. But yeah, when I joined the family, it was definitely, I had those similar feelings because I didn't have like the family aspect of like growing up with prayer and church. Yeah.
So it was definitely a different thing, but you have a great family. I love hanging out with your family. And I was thinking of my mom, this legacy of prayer. I remember like I'd feel bad. Like, Gina, I haven't seen my mom. We need to go over there. I'm going to call her. And I'd go, hey mom, can we come over today and just visit? Now keep in mind, she's at this point, she can't hardly ever leave the house. And I'm thinking, well, she's dying to see me. And she's like, oh, honey, I don't think today's a good day. I have so-and-so coming over to pray at this time, and then so-and-so coming over to pray. And then I have my prayer group coming over. So it had to be over like after like 2 o'clock today. I'm like, geez, Mom, forget it. I'm not going to come over. So, but that idea of her praying and crying out, I remember her praying over me as a kid, just like we would go and pray over the kids. Yeah. And you know, I think that's a huge legacy, and that we want to have. That is a way to impact people, And we were talking about how when you have little kids and you invest in your little babies, they don't even remember that stuff, but it impacts them. And I think in a real way, when we pray for people, whether it's your children or like if you're watching this, whoever you're praying for, you are impacting them. It's one of the greatest ways to serve somebody because you're moving things in the spiritual realm, but they can't see, but they're going to be blessed by it. So I want to encourage you to do that. Another thing was gratitude. But before I say that though, I don't want to make it sound like my mom was a saint. She was pretty awesome. I mean, she was a grandma. How, that's pretty awesome.
I'm a grandma now. How'd that happen? Anyway.
And you know what, Gina, you're a good Mimi. I am just to stop here to say how thankful I am for you as a mom to our boys.
It was fun. I loved it.
and a Mimi to these little baby girls. And soon to be baby boy,
kids.
And all the other kids with Janelle's kids. You've been amazing. But one thing my mom really left on me was, I was going to say a process that my mom, she went through a process like we all do, and my mom had pain and she had struggle in her life, but it was a process, and she grew so much, and she knew pain. But my mom, man, she loved prayer and she loved people, and she was so grateful. Usually my mom would say things like, "Oh, John, I can't believe how blessed we are. And I just am so thankful for Gina. She's such an amazing wife for you, and your boys are so amazing." And then she'd go into, later years ago, and she'd talk about all you girls and how amazing you are, and then the grandkids, and that everyone loves Jesus. And it was just this, and she'd start crying. And I mean, she was always saying how grateful she was. And even when I was a young kid, she would do that. And I think that made it easier for me to be grateful, because and you and I, we've had times in the car where we're just like shocked at how grateful we are. And it's not because we're rich in finances or stuff. It's because we're rich in the Lord and these relationships. But anyway, so grateful. There's a passage I want to read real quick, or maybe there's, who wants to share a story about gratitude or anything like that? Anything come to your mind? Anybody?
I have a funny story.
Let's hear it.
Well, my mom's been gone a long time.
I know what this advice is.
So I just thought I'd share this funny thing that, so my mom left this world when she was younger than me. Yeah. I was 19 49. When she died of cancer. And, but as a teenager, she'd always give me the advice.
Which you didn't follow, I'm thankful.
I did. She'd always give me the advice, Gina, you don't want to marry a handsome man. You don't want to marry a handsome man. And it's funny. And you'd ask, why would she say that? And she would say, it's not good if they know they're handsome. It's just they don't make good husbands if they know they're handsome. So anyway, I, of course, did not follow that advice. But I thought that was just funny. But my mom, something about my mom was she was just always kind. And I had 5 older brothers, and all their wives thought she was just so kind. She was just lovely to be around, and that kind of what you said, encouraging. And again, she never prayed with me. She never prayed with us. It wasn't a Christian home, but she impacted us with her love and her kindness.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I want to read this passage from Psalms 145 and verse 4. Just talking about how our moms or other people leave it, and especially parents, big brothers, whatever, leave it, or sisters, leave an impact on us. One generation, and grandparents, one generation shall praise your works to another and shall declare your mighty acts. One of the great things we can do to leave a legacy and impact people's life is to just tell them what God's done in our life, and to be thankful and tell them how thankful we are. And nothing encourages you more than testimony. Like your dad, we have that on Father's Day. We're going to pull that video up, but it's on the website. You guys want to see a tear-jerking, awesome video? Go to the website and scroll down until you find, or somewhere on there's videos, and watch the video, or go to the YouTube channel the church has, and you'll see her dad's story.
It's Robert Yeager.
Robert Yeager. Wow. Okay.
It's a great.
So
incredible.
The thing is testimonies are powerful. So that's why we love those Grove stories that you can leave your story on the Grove app and share what God's doing in your life, because it encourages us. Yeah, we know God's there and He loves us, but when it's something happening in your life and you bring it to us, it reminds us how real God is every day. So I love his passage about one generation praising the works of the Lord to the next generation, because I think my mom did that with gratitude. She'd be crying too. Well, you had an interesting, actually, you have the most interesting start to getting really connected to our family, and it happened with you and Gina.
Oh,
Because
boy.
this is a good
boy.
story. This is a good
I
story.
love it.
Why don't you share this story with us about your first big interaction with Gina?
Yeah, so I started going to Foothills Elementary School, or junior high, the middle of my 8th grade year, and I started liking Caleb, and I was so excited, and because this was the first boy that like really loved Jesus, and so I was like, oh my gosh, this is really cool, like so different than what I had experienced before. And lucky enough, Gina was Caleb's mom and my principal. So that came with a lot of, I don't know. It was interesting. We'll just say that. It was very interesting.
That 8th grade class was interesting.
I was,
Go ahead.
Okay,
so careful with the story.
Go for it. You can let it go, honey.
Let it go.
Let it go. Say
Look,
how
it's just,
ugly.
It's just us.
She's going to paint
all
this
the
ugly
cameras,
picture. Go
and,
for it.
like,
I give you
people
permission.
We did, okay. We did have a very hard 8th grade class. There was lots of couples. And so there was a specific day when we had like, I think it was like free play, PE, whatever. You could pick what you wanted to do. And everyone was just coupling off. And so Caleb and I think we were shooting like a basketball or something. I don't remember. But I do remember Gina coming down to our classroom once we had all come inside from PE. And she was just calling out names. She was like, Kara, Caleb, Hayden, Bess, like all these different couples. She probably grabbed like 5 or 6 couples, pulled us outside, and really, I don't know why she took us outside, because she was yelling so loud that everybody in the classroom knew exactly what was going on outside. So she probably could have just yelled at us in front of everyone, and it would have been the same.
Because a teacher had complained to Gina and said, like, we have a problem, and she had been trying to work at this,
Yes.
Finally, she had like, that's it.
Yeah, we had like just, it was too much. So that was the tipping point. And so I remember her just specifically, she's now like individually talking to each one of us very loudly. And she gets to me. And the worst part is Caleb's not there. He had like gone to the bathroom or something. I don't know where he was, but it's just me standing there. And she just looks at me and she's like, you are not Caleb's girlfriend. Do you understand me? She's like yelling at me like, do you get what I'm saying? And I'm just like, I'll never talk to him again.
And you were like 5 years old this time, right?
I mean, we were in 8th grade, but still, it was enough to. Yeah. I just was like sobbing, and Caleb. I remember Caleb coming around the corner and just being like, "What is happening? What did I miss? What just happened?" But all that to say, there was some recovery time, but I think that we recovered very well. And we have a great relationship now. Yeah. These are funny stories that we get to tell, but definitely was an interesting start. That's for sure.
You know, I've like watched you interact with these girls and Janelle too, but you've been always really careful you've been careful to be the grandma or the Mimi and not the mom with them. And like my mom wasn't perfect, and we were joking about how sometimes she was like, get so worried about something, she'd kind of get bossy with it.
Yeah, she was lovely, but she was bossy.
Yeah. But like, remember just recently with the headbands with the babies, she was so convinced that you guys,
you're going to make them bald.
Yes, do not put headbands. And she was putting pressure on me to talk to you guys.
She asked for the numbers. Give me their numbers. I'm calling all of them.
No.
So I mean, like that's a silly story to make my mom real, but she did have a real impact on people, and she would really affirm. I mean, she would encourage. She'd say to me, John, your preaching is getting so much better. And at first I'm like, thanks, Mom. And I started thinking about, what is that? But she really would.
Big improvement. Really long ways.
But she really would encourage me. And she remember when she was healthy and she could get out, she'd always try to go, 2 weeks to Foothills because she had 2 sons as pastors there and 1 at the Grove. So she'd go 2 to Foothills.
She was very politically correct.
Oh, yeah. Well, politically correct's not the right word. It's more like she was really careful not to
be fair.
Yeah,
she tried to be
fair to all of us boys. And I always appreciated that. I always felt that even though she loved me more, she did a good job of not letting the other kids know. But also, like, even on her deathbed the night before, she was like, she's sharing how she's ready to go because there was this she's ready to see the Lord, but she knew that we were all doing well and all the things I mentioned earlier about unity in the family and the love and everything else. But then she shared like this vision she had, and I'm not going to share it because I don't feel comfortable sharing it, but it really hit me. And it made me want to, and it made me want to be a better man, and it made me want to be more bold in my preaching. And so she was so affirming, and that's a legacy that like AJ's message last week. It was last week, right?
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. Somebody, yeah. So I don't know if you guys want to share anything about being affirming or like that.
Yeah. Like I said, my mom has a relationship with the Lord, but my family never came to church with me when I was growing up and as I was pursuing that relationship with the Lord. One thing about my mom is I came home from school and I was always so excited to tell her what happened that day or what happened at practice. And she was the first to be like, you were so good at that and you were so, or that's the right decision. If I ever was like struggling with making a decision, she was the first to be like, you're doing well, you're doing right. And so, I mean, that's one of the great things about my mom that I hope to pass on to my daughter and to my kids. But probably the biggest situation that I remember from her, and I hope she's watching because I don't think she knows how much this meant to me. But it was when I was a sophomore in high school and I asked her to be baptized. I really, I wanted to be baptized and it was like kind of nerve-wracking. I wondered what she thought about it. So I asked her, I said, Mom, this is the decision I want to make and I want to be baptized. And she's like, only if Dad and I could come. Like, I would love for you to be baptized, but only if we can come. Yeah. And so to me, that was she just affirmed like the decision I was making, my lifestyle as a Christian and the church that I was going to. She just affirmed all those things and that she was with me and that she supported me. And like I said, that was just one of the biggest things that stood out and so meaningful that she did that.
Right. Yeah. That's incredible. And the affirmation we get from our family, like we did that, AJ did that thing where it's like, who do you want to be affirmed from the most? Something that like I didn't realize when I first got married, but the thing that I want most is you to be proud of me and like your affirmation. So it's weird how that works because when you're growing up, I'm thinking, differently. But anyway, that affirmation is so powerful. You should listen to that message from 2 weeks ago. Another thing my mom did, another like legacy she had was just being a servant. And, she got involved with women's ministry at the church and she helped the school. I know, Jeannie, you're a principal of a school. She did a lot of that. And the church had a school and she worked for free for the first year and stuff like that, the church I grew up in. And then as she retired and got older, she was doing the bus ministry. She was knocking on doors and visiting the kids on her little bus route every week as like an 80-year-old lady, and going out there and doing that. And that's pretty amazing. And praying with those kids and loving them and hugging them.
She loved it.
And even when she was going into a care facility, like she was nervous about it because she was at home and she had nurses that would take care of her. But she was wondering if she'd be more comfortable at the care house. I don't know what you call that place. It was like a house with like 8 residents. And she was nervous to go there and she wasn't sure. But then she started thinking about the ministry she could have to the other people that live there. And that, I'm going to tell you something, you guys. When her mind changed from like, just is it going to work for me to I can have a ministry to the people in this home. I can help them know Jesus. I can love. I mean, she was always sharing Christ with the caregivers, praying for them. When there was a lady next to her. I don't have time to get this message. I don't know how long we are, but so
she just had a huge impact there. Every time you go, she would tell us who she had impacted that week and what she was able to pray with them out loud and over them and who, even who had received Christ. She just had impact wherever she went for the Lord.
And it was amazing. So I know, like you were talking about your mom being really giving. You want to share something about that real quick?
Yeah, my mom has always been very giving and generous in her time and her money. And even like to this day, she's still very giving. And when I had Aubrey, she came out and not stayed with us, but she was here for 6 weeks and she helped me so much. She filled our freezer full of food and fridge full of groceries. She cleaned the house for us, did laundry. She took like middle of the night shifts for us, and it was a big help. And I wasn't the first person she did that for. She did that for a lot of her friends who were first-time moms and even second-time moms, and her friends' kids too. And I thought, and I always just like, that stood out to me. And that is a characteristic that I would love to resemble, and show that to Aubrey, just being very giving. And she just sends us care packages all the time, full of stuff, like not even for me, but for like my sister-in-laws and
good for all of us. I know.
She is
Thanks,
just
Andy.
very like giving to. She's welcomed my extended family, and I just would love to pass that on and show that and do that with Aubrey as well.
And I think that's something we got to close. And to be honest, this has gone by so fast for me. It just zipped past. But we're going to have to end it because we're kind of getting near the end of time. And
I think if we all, I think sometimes you can look and it can be discouraging because you weren't raised in that home. And one thing was interesting that we talked about is really all four of us girls, and even include the beginning of our life, wasn't in this perfect Christian home that sometimes you might think, but all of us came from sort of different backgrounds, different places, whether we went to church, I went to a Catholic church, you went to a Catholic church, but it didn't impact our homes. And so one thing the girls said is they loved hearing that how bad and rowdy I was as a kid. and
made us all feel good.
Yeah, or as a young teen, but it really is. I mean, so it doesn't matter where we came from or what background, or even if we're a mom today and we're in our 30s and we haven't done it right, and we haven't prayed all those prayers, and we haven't danced, and we haven't, God's mercies are new every day. And, a lot of times people ask, because our sons and Janelle all love the Lord. And a lot of times, what did you do? People want a recipe as to what did you do to make him? And I just say, for the grace of God go us. In the scriptures, for the grace of God go I. But God's grace and prayers are powerful. And so if you are in a place right now where you haven't even raised your kids right, and you feel like I'm already a failure, why start now? God's mercies are new every day, and starting now to pray for your kids, to pray for their future, to be positive. One thing to affirm them. I really tried as a mom not to sweat the small stuff. Maybe not as a principal, but as a mom, I tried not to sweat the small stuff and pick battles, and address the bigger things. And maybe that's maybe you find that you're always coming down on your kids, and I don't know, you just feel that have not been where you want to be. It can all start new today, and becoming an encourager. It really does, affirming, encouraging, being positive with your kids, and just telling them great things can make a difference.
And not just your kids, because like you're watching this and you may not be a mom, you might be a guy, or maybe you don't have kids or whatever. But the idea is that who are you going to impact for Jesus? My mom had gifts. All of our moms had gifts, and they brought them and they used them to serve Jesus and to love people. And maybe your parents weren't super, like your mom has faith, but the rest of your family's not super into churchy stuff, but still impacted you. You have a great family, and all of us are really blessed with our families. Yeah, and it's that decision to say, I want to leave an impact. I want to impact people around me, and other people helped us with our kids. Thank you, Marley. Good job. That's our Doberman Pinscher Wolverine dog over there. So my challenge to you is this scripture. Then I'm going to close because we got to end with time. We're over a little bit, but is what Paul said to Timothy in 2 Timothy 2:2. He just said, "And these things which you have heard from me in the presence of many witnesses, these entrust to faithful men who will be able to teach others also." Each of us has a responsibility to bring Christ through us into the relationships and opportunities that we have. You have those opportunities. We need to bring those in, and we need to love people for him and leave a legacy in their life. And I love what you said. It's a process. You can start today. What could you do today that would bring you in that process. Now listen, I got to close with one last thing before we let you off here. And that is, you might be watching this and we're talking about praying and Jesus and stuff, and you don't even know Jesus. I just want you to have a moment right now where you could invite Jesus into your life and become a Christian right now. Mm-hmm. And it's really simple to do as far as what you say, and that the hard thing is your heart. You have to say to your heart that, God, I need you. And so what I want you to, and I need you, and I need you to forgive my sins, and I want you to come in my life, and I want to follow you. That's not a hard prayer to say with your lips, but it's something deep inside that gives in to God. So right now, why don't you just close your eyes, if that's you, and just say this prayer: God, please forgive me my sins. Come into my life. I want to follow you the rest of my life. And that sounds like a simple thing, but it's profound and deep. And I pray that you'll let us know on that communication card that you made that decision, because we want to send you some stuff. Also, one of the things that we do every week that we just love is we want to pray for you on the phone. We love being in person, but right now we can't be in person. So you could be anywhere in the world. You could be someone who's not involved in our church, and we want to pray and talk with you. So all you need to do, there'll be a number on the screen. Pastor Grant will be there with his wife, and they have a team of people who want to help you. You just share what you're struggling with.
You text it to them.
Did I say call?
I don't know.
Oh, thanks, Gina. I probably did.
Then someone calls you back.
Yeah, then someone will call you right back. It's super easy, and you can just share. And I want to challenge you to do that. Leave your prayer requests on the communication card. We pray for them. But take this opportunity. If you're struggling, if you need physical healing, if you're discouraged, maybe we're talking about moms today, and you're hurting because you have regret with your own children. Maybe you're a dad and you regret, or maybe you have regret with your mom, or maybe you're hurting because you can't have children, or whatever it is. We want to pray with you and encourage you. God wants to meet you and love on you, and He does it through people. So text that number, and we'll do that. And guys, I'm so excited. Next week, Caleb's going to talk to us about worship. We're going to have an amazing time next week, so come back next week. God bless you guys.